All right, guys, today I have three very important questions for you to answer. And I want you to listen up intently and I want you to be very honest with yourself because how you answer these questions are going to play a large part in just how happy you're going to be in life. All right, here's the first question, and it is: how important is it for us to be liked by others? I'm serious. The second question is: how does it make you feel when you know you are liked by others? That's the easy one. And the third one is a little more difficult, and that is: how do you cope or manage when you find out that you are intensely disliked by others for seemingly no apparent reason? And that's the kicker. Now, some of you have already audibly answered the first question with, well, I don't care if others like me or not. I'm my own man. Love me or hate me, like me or leave me. My old lady likes me. That's all that really matters. And I don't really care if anybody likes me. Well, the truth of the matter is you do care if people like you. All right? And it should matter to us whether people like us or not. Now, I didn't say that everybody should like us. And I'm not saying that should matter. Okay? I just ask if it matters at all that other people like us. And of course, it feels good when people do. And it feels terrible when they don't, and especially when it doesn't seem like they have any reason at all. And we all struggle with this. But you know it's important for people to like you because one of the essential ingredients to success in life is being able to get along well with others, whether it's at home or in the workplace or any place else. It's absolutely essential. And if people are getting along well with you, well, that means people are liking you. Okay, but not everybody can like you. That's not even possible. Okay, so I'm not even throwing that out there. But I came across something lately that should help put things in perspective. It's actually an article from 1941 that appeared in Reader's Digest. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because we live in a world where it does seem to matter intensely whether we're liked or not, right? Look at social media. You have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have Snapchat, YouTube, and so on and so forth, Twitter. And with Facebook, you have a thumbs up, right? You can actually show that you assign value to someone's post. You can do the same thing with Instagram. YouTube's a little bit different story. You actually have a thumbs up and a thumbs down. And never does it seem to matter more whether people like you or not than when others have the opportunity to show how much, when they have the freedom to show how much they dislike you. Then it becomes a little more serious to consider, right? I mean, because it's very apparent. But there is a way to put this into perspective. Dorothy Canfield was apparently an author back in the early 1900s. I don't know exactly what she's written. I don't really know anything about her at all. But she wrote an article that appeared in the 1941 Reader's Digest. And Reader's Digest was just a great little magazine that I don't know how often it would come out. Maybe they put it out every 2 weeks, maybe once a month. My parents had them lying around the house all the time. They were filled with good stories and anecdotes, and I just loved reading them. But this appeared in 1941. Listen to this. This is in Dorothy Canfield's own words. She's telling the story, okay? And the name of the article is called "I Do Not Like Thee, Dr. Phil." Okay, here it is. Once in the question and answer period, after I had finished a talk at a women's college, a girl asked me, "How do you stand it when some reviewer tears one of your books to pieces? It would just slay me to have such hateful things said about me." Sound familiar? Feeling that her question was easy to answer, I began with bland assurance. Well, of course, no writer would pretend it is pleasant to read a severely unfavorable criticism, but nobody can expect to be liked by everyone. The very same traits which make some people enjoy having you around will make other people hate the sight of you. Take your own personal life. You know well enough that not everybody who knows you likes you. You must have noticed. I was halted by a strange expression on her young face. Her eyes widened. She perceptibly paled. It was borne in on me with a horrifying impact that never before had it occurred to this 19-year-old child that anyone could dislike her. Not her. For a moment I was far too embarrassed to speak. And as I looked from one sober young face to another, I knew that I had broken dreadful news to them all. Those girls should, for their own good, have learned that long ago. Yet the thought came to me that day, and I have had it many times since, that none of us really understands the phenomenon of personal likes and dislikes. It is ever present in our daily life, familiar to all adults, and yet is an unsolved mystery. The first day in school, a new teacher faces a group of children, all unknown to her. The children face an adult they have never laid eyes on before. The teacher writes a few sentences on the board, gives a few directions, and then all march off to the first school assembly. But already most of the children know whether they like teacher or not. And already the teacher has thought, that freckle-faced boy and the girl with the very short hair in the back, I'm going to enjoy having them in the class. Take the case of a person who has just undergone an operation. Even before the ether fumes are cleared from his head, he likes some and dislikes others of the nurses coming and going in his sick room. He has not seen them long enough to know anything about their qualities. He simply makes up his mind that he likes the sandy-haired one best. On the other hand, the man in the next room, fighting his way out of ether, may whisper to the doctor, "Keep that sandy-haired nurse away. She gives me the jitters. I'd rather have that little fat one." As you look around at people in streetcar or ferry or drugstore, why do you like some and dislike others? These first impression preferences often change as mysteriously as they appear. Only the most stubborn insist that they never modify first like or dislike. But when one's likes and dislikes settle down to permanence, they are as inexplicable as ever. This fact is so disconcerting to logic and common sense that most people refuse to admit it. We bring up all sorts of things as reasons for our feelings. We say sweepingly, "I like Pete because he's cheerful. I always like cheerful people." But even as we speak, we remember, if we are honest, that so-and-so is cheerful, and we have often wished he'd wipe that silly grin off his face. The simple point is that we like Pete, and so we like his being cheerful. We don't like so-and-so, and hence we dislike his cheerfulness. And don't claim for one instant that you like anybody for his virtue or dislike him for his faults. How many devotedly good people have rubbed you intolerably the wrong way? And how many times have you confessed, I know he doesn't pay his debts and is always getting out from under his responsibilities, but darn it all, you can't help but like the fellow. Moreover, our likes and dislikes are cheeringly free from the self-interest motive. The sick man who murmurs he'd rather have the sandy-haired nurse hasn't any idea that she can give him better nursing. The child who, gazing at the new teacher, finds mysteriously rising in his ignorant little heart a liking for her, hasn't the least idea that she can teach him more geography and arithmetic than another. He doesn't like her because he can get more education out of her. Goodness gracious, no, he just likes her. Is the phenomenon of personal liking and disliking so mysterious that nothing can be learned about the conduct of life from thoughtful consideration of it? Well, maybe one thing. The desirability of admitting to our minds without emotional protest the fact that each of us is bound to encounter some persons who dislike him, and that we might as well accept this universal phenomenon without making a fuss about it. Much unhappiness, irritability, and vain regret could be put out of our lives if we would but recognize that any universal phenomenon is bound to apply to us as well as to everybody else. It is childishness not to recognize this. Yet I have a notion that many a sensitive clergyman, many a lawyer, doctor, merchant, suffers from a shock not unlike that which paled the cheeks of my college girl when he sees dislike in the eyes of someone looking at him, even someone he secretly dislikes himself. If we could accept such shocks as philosophically as we accept the weather, and for the same reason, because there's nothing anybody can do about them, how much more inner peace we might have. We might learn to protect our self-respect by taking pains always to act with fairness and thoughtfulness to the occasional person who is so inhuman as to feel for us the dislike we feel once in a while for someone else. Beyond that, the best thing is just to take it as we take a wet day, aware that fussing about it only makes things worse. Although this problem of likes and dislikes concerns us every minute we are in the presence of others, it is never seriously discussed by doctors, psychologists, clergymen, or anyone else among those who undertake to help us to understand life in order to manage it with intelligence. Did you ever see a reputable book on this subject? I never did. A few commercially minded people make money by teaching us tricks which will help us give an imitation of likability, and hence perhaps sell more goods and more insurance. But that is about all. The poets, more than any other human beings, have here occasional deep divinations of truth. They have at least recognized the existence of this mystery. Elizabeth Barrett goes deep with a sonnet beginning, "If thou must love me, let it be for naught, except for love's sake only. Do not say, I love her for her smile, her look, her way of speaking gently, for a trick of thought." Later she repeats with passionate insistence, "Love me for love's sake." But it was no poet at all, only an irreverent student in a classroom a century or so ago who produced a bit of doggerel so folk perfect, an expression for a universal human experience, that his 4 lines bid fair to become immortal. "I do not like thee, Dr. Fell. The reason why I cannot tell. But this I know, and know full well, I do not like thee, Dr. Fell." There you have it, guys. There are some people in this world who are going to like you, and there are some that are not going to like you at all. In fact, they may intensely dislike you. And you shouldn't let that eat you up, because they don't really know enough about you either way. Do people really know enough about you to like you as much as they think they do? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe if they knew you better, they wouldn't like you at all. And maybe if some people knew you truly, they would like you a whole lot more than what they do. But it's just, this is one of the conundrums of life. This is what you have to deal with. It's important to be liked by others. It's important to get along well, to get ahead in this world, to navigate our way through the different kinds of relationships we have in different places. But it shouldn't consume us that somebody else may not like us. Just thank God when somebody does like you, and hope that they like you for the right reasons. And when somebody doesn't like you, like she said, be gracious to them, because there are people that you dislike also with the same intensity for no reason at all. Give that some thought, guys. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. You can like or dislike this video. Either way, please subscribe to this video. I have this channel. I have many other videos that you may be interested in. And I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good day. Bye-bye.